Hey there, just a quick video to let you guys know that the Mimic event is back. I know there are some of you that watch my channel that, aren't playing regularly, or maybe you're taking a little break from the game, and so I want to make sure you know that it's back. And the event is a little bit different this time, so it's running through October 8th, and there are no cards like before. The way that it works is basically any chest in a dungeon has a chance to be a Mimic. Not in raids, though. None of the raid chests will be Mimics. But any other chest anywhere in any dungeon or Slayer zone can be a Mimic, and when you kill the Mimic, and they're pretty tough, at least on Reaper mode they are. It definitely takes some effort to kill them. Uh, Once you kill the Mimic, you will get a token in your inventory. Actually, it'll go in your red bag, if your bag is set to auto-gather. And then you can use these tokens to get some rewards from Glinnereth here, the Mimic Hunter in the Hall of Heroes. And so I haven't been going out of my way to farm these, just in my daily questing. I've been getting about, I guess, about 10 a day. But I thought we could take a look at some of these items here in the video real quick. We got 3 interesting new items. And by the way, if you don't like the Mimics, you don't want them to spawn, you just don't want to deal with all this, you can just visit Glennereth here and say, how can I avoid these terrible Mimics? And there's an option there to just basically turn the event off for you. Alright, let's see what we got here. So you can, for 20 of the Mimic tokens, you can get some collectibles crates, and there are different tiers. And so if you need collectibles, I suppose you can spend your tokens on that, if nothing else, if you don't want these other items. The items are kind of interesting. So there's this belt. It says Indomitable wrapping, so it's not, these aren't hand wraps, this is a belt. And it's basically like an all-in-one false life and healing amplification, or at least all-in-one false life, which also has healing amplification in it. So all your different, your regular, your insightful, and your quality false life right there. So and the belt is a pretty good place for that, generally speaking, for a lot of different tunes. So definitely some good stats there. If you're a crafter, this is probably not very interesting for you. But if you're a newer player or a more casual player or something, this could be a really, really nice item. It is bound to account, so you can move it around as needed. It does require 80 tokens, though, so it's probably, unless you spend a lot of time farming chests, you're probably not going to get yourself like one of every one of these. But maybe they'll have like an encore of the event. And so they go all the way up to level 28 versions of these. So all the way up to False Life 48, Insightful 23, and Quality 11, Healing Amp 51 with a yellow slot. So an interesting item there. The next item is the Cloak of the Mimic. And so here we've got Death Block, Fortification, and some damage reduction, as well as something I think that's totally new, the Sticky Goo Guard. So like if you've dealt with Mimics before, you know that you can get like the stickiness around you. And so I haven't played with this. I don't know how often it procs, but that seems like it could be really interesting, a really interesting option. I'm kind of curious, I kind of want to maybe get one and see how often it procs, but I just don't want to give up the cloak that I'm wearing. But in any event, what I do find particularly weak here, though, is the amount of fortification. But it's actually on par with what you can craft and what you can find on random gen loot, which is on the weak side. And the reason I say that is because, for example, this is your lowest tier version. It has 55% fortification. Well, you can go get a level 4 augment that has 75% fortification on it. And then by level 8, you can get a 100% fortification augment, whereas this level 8 version of the cloak only has 70% fortification. Even going up to the level 16 version, you only have 97% fortification. So, I mean, you definitely want to have 100% fortification as soon as you can. So I find the fortification on here to be pretty lame. I think it would have been way cooler if they had maybe just pre-slotted it up. Get rid of the fortification, added another slot that was pre-slotted with like, sapphire fortification appropriate for that level. In any event, you got the Goo Guard, you got Death Block, you got some damage reduction, and you got a green slot, and you got some PRR, which the PRR that is on there is on par with what you can craft and what you can find on random gen for that level range. Again, it goes all the way up to a level 28 version. And this is what that looks like. The next item is a necklace, which has a belt symbol. A little confusing, but it's the necklace of glib tongue, and so this is like basically a situational charisma skills item, an all-in-one. It's got exceptional, insightful, and quality alluring skills. It doesn't explicitly define what an alluring skill is, but I guess I can only assume that it's the same skills listed where it says linguistics 10%. This item reduces the cooldown of your social skills, diplomacy, bluff, and intimidate by 10%. So, if you're trying to do the the optionals in Crucible or something, or you never know when you're going to need to do like a bluff skill or intimidate check or a diplomacy check on an NPC, right? So you just pop this on, and that's going to give you some pretty significant bonuses to those. So this can be a nice situational item, I suppose. I don't think it's going to be the kind of item that you would wear all the time, but if you're an Intimitank and you're struggling to reach the Intimidate of a certain mob, maybe like Legendary Elite ZZ, she has a pretty high Intimidate. You could pop this on for the raid. In fact, I might get one of these for that. Well, we'll see. In any event, this goes all the way up to a level 28 version as well. So then you got like Caustic Oil. I think we had this before. It just adds 1d6 acid damage to your weapon. Lasts for 1 hour. And then Oil of Strengthening adds some durability. Prevents all items from taking durability damage for 10 minutes. Okay. And then we got a new cosmetic pet, and this is kind of neat. So this is something a little bit newer that appeared in DDO, not too terribly long ago, where you had basically oozes that were given the skins to make them look like piles of gold in some quests. And so now we can get those as pets. I haven't seen them yet, but that's kind of neat for those of you who like cosmetic pets. There's a copper pile, a silver pile, gold pile, and a platinum pile. And I guess they have like a shark fin animation, like they turn into a shark fin and swim around, and I've heard that's pretty funny, but I haven't seen it. So for 100 mimic tokens. And then the mimics cosmetic pets are back too, which are very irritating because they're loud and clunky as they move around, but you do have that option. So that's the event. Let's see, is there anything else worth mentioning? You cannot farm Storm Reaver Fresco anymore. So those of you remember when the event was around before, we used to go in there in the back, and all the safety deposit boxes were considered chests and had a chance to be mimics. Well, they specifically said those don't have a chance to be mimics anymore. That was way too easy of a farm. Also, when you loot a chest 5 times, or after looting a chest 5 times, it no longer has a chance to be a mimic. And I don't know if that's a week-long timer, like a ransack timer, or what. But I suppose one way that you get around that, like if you were in a farming group, is you could do a Slayer group and say, have a Veil of Twilight Slayer group up, and each one of you could do a different side. You get the 4 sides of the Veil, and after you did 5 iterations of that, you could all just switch sides. And I would assume that it's just the person who opens the chest. But here's the thing: when a mimic is killed in an instance, everybody in the instance gets a token. So if you're in a Slayer zone together doing Slayers, somebody gets a rare chest on the other side of the map and it's a mimic and they kill it and they get a token, well, everybody in the whole Slayer zone gets a token. It works that way for in the dungeon as well. So it seems like that's sort of one workaround. One way to farm is to just, like I said, if you're doing Slayers, rotate which sides you're doing. I haven't personally tried that to see if it works. I can't see why it wouldn't, though. But leave a comment if you've tried that and let me know. And I don't know of any other farms right now. Like I said, I haven't been farming this. So if you got a good farm, if you know a good place to farm mimics, please make a comment in the video. Well, I think that's about it. So if you've been taking a break from the game, you want to come back and get some of these interesting items, or just take a look for yourself, go for it. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube.